Hell yeah. So as I was saying, those three different locations in Western China, those three cave locations, Yakatan, Zing, Zing, Pi, and then the other one that slips my fucking tongue right now. The oldest fucking pottery was found there. The oldest pottery on the entire planet. I'm talking about pot like pottery. They are older than, or at least one. The one that slips my fucking tongue. It's old as 20,000 years ago, 18,000 BC. The oldest in Japan, I think northern Japan, from the Jomon culture, which previously were known to have the oldest pottery. It's about 12,000 years ago. You know what I'm saying? About 1210, something like that. Now, this recent information has been updated within the last 17 years. Now, as far as Western China, Tibet, Xinjiang, and then I forget the name of the other fucking province, my bad. But as far as Western China, including the motherfucker Wakhan corridor of Afghanistan that protrudes into China, at least. Okay, that whole entire fucking area does not have no fucking pottery that's even 9,000 years old ago. Now, outside of China, and not even considering Japan right now, in India, for example, and I found this out while doing my research for my Negrito vlog, because again, it's a lot of fucking history I'm going to bring up as a note as well, YouTube. And this is just like a practice, or just, my, like, a draft and shit, basically, just talking right now. Anyway, you know what I'm saying? As a note, I've noticed this a long time ago. I was like, damn, people really don't, as far as my experiences, my reference points and shit, people don't really touch on Central Asia a lot. And man, based on all the knowledge I gathered up until this point, I'm gonna make it very simple. I'm glad I did it. So I found out so much shit. And again, not just Central Asia, but just as a note, Central Asia in particular, it's a lot of interesting ass motherfucking history there. I'm gonna keep it that fucking simple. But again, so in India, within the Uttar Pradesh province, that's within the Ganges region of northeastern India. All right, there's a place called Lahu Radewa. There's pottery that's found there. So far, as of 2026, it's the oldest pottery in India, and it dates back 9,000 years ago. That's the same for many other places, including, I think, Pakistan. A place called Megar or Murgar, something like that. The oldest pottery found there dates back to that same exact period. 9,000 years ago, around 7,000 BC. Even in fucking, I almost called it Salaman. I forget the name of the province. Again, it's at the tip of my tongue, but it's in eastern Iraq. And the oldest pottery there, again, dates back around that same period, around 7,000 BC. There's like three main sites there. That has like a chronological order of the earliest habitation in that entire region or whatever, of that entire province. It keep coming to my mind, but it's slipping. It starts with an S. Salimania, something like that. But anyway, one is called Shimshara, a site. It's called Shimshara. Another one called Kwalat. Amadane. Anyway, it's about three main ones. As far as like when pottery first was found there, or where the earliest or not just where, but the time period, it's basically, when you round it up, it's about around 7,000 BC. Now that goes for other sites as well, far west of Iraq. Now, there are some exceptions, but before I speak on those, just to make it clear, in my mind, I'm like, okay, that's interesting, because all of Western China, there's not, like I said, there's not even pottery that goes back 8,000 years ago, 6,000 BC. I don't even think I found any that goes back to around 5,000 BC. That's fucking interesting, because my personal opinion, and I think this is a straight fact, is that pottery comes from it's the same as arrows and bows. I think it comes from a single locality, somewhere, somebody, and then due to metapopulations, that particular technology spreads just like everything else. The same goes for rectangular shaped residencies during that same time period when pottery, even before pottery began to spread. Again, what I was trying to point out with the Angazal on my when I was talking to Seneca. But anyway, this is all documentation. I got this shit documented anyway. What I really was trying to point out also was that if you look at those Angazal statues, if you look at how they're designed, the way they look, most of the pottery in that entire region, even slightly before that time period, looks just like those people. Again, that's a sign that whoever whoever came up with that formula of how to map a person out or persons out, obviously that formula was spread. So when everybody else started making, because there's other pottery figures that look different from those of Angazal, even like thousands of years before that. But there is a particular theme during that time period, even slightly before the mid-7th millennium BC or what have you. Definitely after that. A lot of pottery human being figurines look just like those Angazal statues. That is not an accident. I don't think that's make sure my phone recording. Yes, it is. To me, in my mind, that's not an accident. That's due to meta populations that go elsewhere, and those that know how, when they basically continue to make art in whatever type of location that they end up traveling or migrating to, or even temporarily inhabiting due to a season or whatnot, they still keep those traditions that they come from. So that type of formula of fashioning a person started from that. Same thing with like the residencies having rectangular shapes for the most part. I don't think that's fucking accidental. I do not equivocate that to a bird in a bird's nest. And I stand behind that. I'm so confident, I always throw this in there. If somebody corrects me or somehow I'm corrected, I'm like, damn, oh my God, I missed that. Again, I ain't got no, I got a saying. This is inspired from me looking at Condoleezza Rice and the things I used to hear everybody say about people like her back in the day. My saying is this: shit, go correct her. That's how I feel about this. I'm confident, but that's still in the air. Shit, if I'm wrong, I'm missing something that is like a form of a bird's nest, blah blah blah. Shit, correct me. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that's accidental. So, going to like pottery, for example, what I was trying to say before I pressed record YouTube, I was doing, basically processing out loud / venting. What I was trying to say is that I believe it's Yakatan. That site is about 12,000 years old. That particular cave site in China. There, some of the pottery that was found there had a distinct design on there. It was like cord-like designs around the pottery. And in Lahu Rade Wa, I've noticed the same types of designs, just from looking at the pictures. And I was like, wow. So I drew a connection there. I'm like, even on a more deeper, not even just deeper, even on a more intricate level, that's definitely not fucking accidental. Hell no, it's a connection there. That's a geometric damn design there also. You know what I'm saying? Interwoven design. You know what I mean? I forget the name of these plants, but I noticed this when we lived in the projects. I asked somebody, I was like, what the fuck is these plants that grow on the side of the brick walls? They used to didn't be like that a long time ago. He was like, that's such and such. It come from China. And I was like, when we stayed on 8th Street, even when we first moved around here, those plants never existed. You know what I'm saying? So shit, they gave me a long look while he was smiling. I was like, shit, I ain't never. They come from China. What the fuck they doing over here in the projects? You know what I'm saying? Anyway, shit like that. Like, you I don't know if if plants like that exist in fucking northern India. You know what I'm saying? To where, okay, well, these people just inevitably replicated the natural designs around them, the Fibonacci sequence like type shit around them. No, I don't think that's the case with that. So that's influence. That's influence there. But the thing is, to me, is so far there's no traces of pottery in fucking Western China that is even half as old as, that's not even as old as fucking the Jolman pottery. You know what I'm saying? That's the only part right there. I think that's still explainable, so shit just ain't found yet. That's what I think. Now I'm gonna throw this in there before I continue. Okay, there are exotic exceptions. That's what I call them. In Israel, for example, along the Levant, actually, basically within the land of Palestine, just using the word objectively. In some caves, there are pottery found there that's older than 9,000 years ago. There's some found there that's about 10 to 11,000 years old. I was like, oh, that's interesting. You know what I'm saying? Because in, let's say, I'm trying to think. Basically, in all of Mesopotamia so far, and so basically Syria, okay, Iraq, Syria, Iran too, Iraq, and Syria, even fucking Turkey. There's no pottery that's older than about 9,000 years ago. If it is, to my recollection, the ones that's older than 9,000 years ago was found within Palestine, certain caves and places within Palestine. If there are some in, like, let's say Turkey, for example, in like southeastern Turkey near the border or some shit, you know what I'm saying? It's probably like maybe one or two. But I think those are explainable as well. I don't think that escapes the same motherfucking inescapable motherfucking logic of pottery first being fashioned in China and then the technology itself spreading eventually. And that same technology and know-how influencing other people. Therefore, there have had to have been the same effect, because not to be corny, because I know what the fuck I'm talking about, not to be corny, but like Onesimus, for example, the guy that had the idea of how to cure smallpox, basically, or whatnot, how he himself admits that idea came from where he's from in West Africa, but it's never been documented, so it's like lost history. Obviously, he's not lying. There was some type of know-how to how to approach something and become immune to it somehow. Obviously, that's true. He's not lying. But it's never been documented, and then the know-how of that, I guess, shit, persons or tribes and kingdoms or whatever, what have you, died out with that. It wasn't documented, so that knowledge became lost. Shit like that happens. Onesimus, in my opinion, is like an example of that. So going back to this pottery, there have had to have been some early persons, populations, etc., groups or whatever, families or whatever, that eventually made it over. That's the only way to explain that. And I'm so confident in that, I would even add this, because I almost forgot to mention it. The oldest pottery in Africa that was found is not, it's within the Sahara Desert. No, it's not. It's in northern Africa. It's about 12,000 years. 12 to 13,000 years old, basically. I always kept that in mind. Even something like that, as far as Northern Africa, there's an explanation to that as well. Again, not to be corny, but I mentioned Onesimus, for example. Now, I could go further with that point. There's a reason I'm not. And go into North America and go as far as like the Eskimos as well, and go into arrows and bows and what. Yeah, I'm not going to do that right now. But let's keep it very simple. Say that for like a better time to go into deep into why I think this. Onesimus is a good, like, clear example to me, a very simple example. And I don't consider it, like, again, referencing like a green apple out of a slew of regular daggler-ass red apples. Nah, I don't think that's the same thing. I'm just referencing him in particular and the significance of him from my point of view, just to make the point clear. Now, going beyond. Now, I don't think it's also similar to like a bird's nest as well, because that means you would have to say that the IQ, by and large, of Oriental people, especially in particular the northern ones more so, is genetic. And that's the reason why they're the first to come up with that. It still holds in that to me as well, even if you consider the quantity that has been established evidence. Why? Because it's a lot of people, all kinds of people, by the way, with high IQs, especially black people. I have seen the shit myself, even as far as fucking just online through Instagram postings. It's a whole bunch of them, and I don't apologize. I ain't one of them. 122. So it's not a freak of nature type thing. That to me in itself, and I could go deeper on that, why I say that, but I'm not. I'm going to save that until it's like, you know what I'm saying, purposeful or more appropriate to go deeper on that. So no, I don't think it's a genetic determinate type of thing either. So, getting that out the way. But yeah, like I was saying, the shit I was combing through, I'm like, God damn. I was going to say something else aside from pottery. Hold on, let me pause this, like my fucking cigarette. Hold on, so I can try to recall if it's something else that I'm forgetting to say. I remember now. I hate that I pressed pause. I swear, I only pressed pause for like motherfucking 20 seconds and shit. I remember now. Okay, the Umar Johnson, I was talking about that as well. I was saying like, or I mentioned it, and I was going to elaborate. I actually just mentioned his name. I was like, shout out to Umar Johnson as I was doing my process venting. Yeah, no, shout out to him, but shit, when he was bad when he was bad at Sarah Suit and Sadie and shit. And the nigga was like, you just regurgitate information, you plagiarize. Nigga, I'm published. Nigga, talk about I'm booked. Nigga, if you book, then what the fuck am I? You know what I'm saying? But anyway, it's ticklish, so it's funny to the motherfucker. But nah, shit, same shit here, nigga, hell nah, shit. But shit, I read first-hand sources and the information as far as pottery, Lahu, Radewa, and all that. Man, you can't just simply YouTube that. You got to look at them published. You can't YouTube or simply Google that. Google goes send you straight to the published articles that you have to read. Like Yakatan and all that. You could Google it, but they're going to also send you to those direct published articles because that is relatively recent. That's updated information within the last 17 years that has become prevalent enough to, hey, that's officially the oldest pottery. Shit has been verified. So, my shit come from that. Now, that, for example, I have read nothing. Neither have I seen a video of anybody pointing this out. If they are, it is so rare I have not seen it. Nigga, the relation, like the similarity between the chord shapes of the pottery found at the site Lahu Radewa and the pottery found at the cave site of Yakatan in China. The chord-like designs are exactly alike. Now, Yakatan predates it by 3,000 years, basically. Are you fucking telling me? And again, Lahu Radewa is located in northeastern fucking India, within the Ganges region. If you know about the geography of India, you know the Ganges, well, the Indus and Ganges region, basically. Excuse me. It's across northern India. It's a slice of India left at the most northern part. But a good slice of northern India, almost kind of like the motherfucking Sahara Desert, it's made, is where the Indus and Ganges region is located at. Within the Ganges region itself is where the site Lahura Dewa exists at, within the province of Uttar Pradesh. Now, that's still northeastern India. And I went that far because, like I said, I was combing through shit, trying to trace, like, okay, how does pottery, okay, ooh, you know what I'm saying? Because pottery later on existed, of course, in the later, like, Hasuna, Calafian, of course, Yaring Tepe, especially Yaring Tepe, because that's almost like another fucking 1,000 years later and shit. But Yaring Tepe is basically along the same time period as like the late Samara culture and then the fucking Ube culture. Like it's like in that space, that time period. You know what I'm saying? But my all the other ones like Murray Bednar, all them other ones, they're much older than that. Anyway, so Halufian, Hasuna, and all these people down the line. And as far as the Hasuna culture, even like the proto Hasuna culture didn't have pottery still. You know what I'm saying? That's like after the proto Hasuna culture period. So it's safe to say like about 6,000 years going forward. That's when they had pottery. You know what I'm saying? You see the old Hasuna period is 6,300 to 6,000 BC or whatnot. So during that period, you know what I'm saying? I still don't think they had pottery yet, even then. But safely by like 6,000 BC, they definitely have pottery. Let's see, yeah. If not 6,300 BC, definitely by 6,000 BC, they have pottery. So did the Halufian culture, who became another theme as well. But anyway, motherfucker, yeah. As far as those settlements, all those shits came directly from published scientific articles, the up-to-date shit as well. Even the motherfucking Denisovan, it's like the Denisovan caves and shit, like Denisovan 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 11, and 21. There's some updated like information on these shits too. The dates sort of changed. So it's like a good range of 50 to 70,000 years for some of them. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, yeah, those are shit I'm gonna mention in my Negrito blog. But yeah, I just wanna, I'm gonna leave it at there. Leave it at that for this. And post this motherfucker as well in case I forget some of the early shit, which I don't think I will.